Welcome back to Obscure Gaming, the segment where it seems like I only do one of these like one time a year, but rest assured, I think that is merely just a coincidence, a bad one. Even so, here we are, and what a time to be alive, here, inside, where it's safe, bunkered down with, 8 million streaming services and strange bootlegs from China. Today in Obscure Gaming, we'll be taking a look at Spider-Man 3, the movie edition for the Game Boy Color. Yes, Spider-Man 3, the edgiest of the Raimi trilogy. A film willing to go so dark, they parted Tobey Maguire's hair to the side just ever so slightly. I was terrified. So you can imagine my relief when the game booted up and I was greeted to the plot of the first movie, albeit poorly translated. And, it kind of implies that Peter is actually his uncle, which, that's not right. And also this game calls itself Spider-Man 3, but it is Spider-Man 1, which can mean only one thing. Spider-Man 3 is a prequel to the entire series, so I don't know what the hell happens in Spider-Man 2 and 1. But just what is the plot to this magical game, you may ask? Well, it's very simple and easy to follow along with. Sing along if you know the words. Ben, Parker. And I'm going to have to stop me right there. Not two sentences into this story. Note the periods. I'm counting those. And things have already gone horribly wrong. This is not Ben Parker. This is Tobey Maguire. Hate to ruin the plot twist for anyone who don't know. It's Tobey Maguire or Peter Parker, whichever you like. A fairly major typo, though. Granted, if you look at the overall plot of Spider-Man, that's a pretty big one. That's like saying Sandman is the one who killed Uncle Ben. It's ridiculous. But to be fair, they did do a comic where Uncle Ben became Spider-Man, but the chances of this being some reference to that is nope. Anyway, Ben Parker, a normal high school student. After the bite from a radiant spider, that spider was beautiful. He had various superpower, walking on the wall and ceiling, give off cobweb, etc. That's a good summary of Spider-Man overall. Spider-Man, walk on wall and ceiling, give off cobweb, etc. That was his catchy theme song in, the 60s? So, yeah, you get it! Also, these powers are awful. Give off cobweb, what the hell's that? But, fade to black, new low-quality JPEG. At the beginning, Parker only used his power to earn private pocket money, not public pocket money. Just private pocket money. That's the only kind Spider-Man accepts. But when his beloved uncle, who will go unnamed, we'll assume his name is Peter, because he can't be Ben, because that's the main character, Spider-Man. He's Ben. But when he was murdered by the bad guys, aka that one guy, aka Sandman, but he promised that he would attack the crime. That's general, but attack the crime, depend on, and then it cuts off like an incomplete thought, and fade to black to Norman Osborn, the famous scientist, his classmate's fatter. Okay, game, that's uncalled for. He looks fine, frankly. You don't need to call him fatter. But yeah, old fatter here, he managed a chemical appliance company, and not much else, apparently, because there's all this black space here. Awkward pause, fade to black. And then, in one experiment, Norm, who can't spell his own name, sadly, I hope the experiment is about how to spell his name correctly. We can dream. But he, coincidentally, breathed in nerve gas, emerged the evil characteristics, became the Green Goblin, hated by everyone. Everyone! With the purpose of controlling the whole world. Was that his purpose? I don't actually know. I don't remember. I thought it was just, hey, he's a bastard, and also he's green. But, he made nothing because the text has vanished into thin air again. This game has not started yet, and it's falling apart, just slightly. fade to black, maybe New York City. I'm not really sure. But one thing is for sure. Spider-Man, the hero with the heart, unlike those other heroes with no heart, you all suck. Protecting justice would take steps to sentence Green Goblin's crime, so broke the war between fair and evil. Hamming it up just a tad there. But boom, Spider-Man 3. I really... Like, what are Spider-Man 2 and 1? It's like, this is when Ben Parker went to high school. And this is when he got rejected by Mary Jane the first time. And that's the first level. But anyways, this is a video game. Can you believe it? I can't. And it's actually a fairly simple one. Yet, for a bootleg, rather competent. So, you know, that's cool. It's responsive and playable and doesn't freeze, except for, you know, if you knock a boss into a pit. But, you know, that's a very specific instance that I don't have footage of because that footage got deleted. And look, I know, like, these must sound like pretty low thresholds for a game to meet, but this is a bootleg, which means it's already, like, leagues above its competition, so good job. I don't know what you had to rip off to get this all to work, kinda-ish, but, way to go. In Spider-Man 3, though, you'll take control of Ben Parker, a.k.a. Tobey Maguire, a.k.a. Spider-Man, in what is, by all accounts, your average platformer. As Ben, you'll work your way around, what I want to say, like, 6-ish stages. I don't actually remember, because they all kind of blend together, honestly. Though luckily, I don't really think it matters if I'm off by, like, 1 in this particular instance. But in these stages, it seems that, you know, everyone in the city wants you to not live anymore. And I mean everyone, just, you know, random guys, random ladies, soldiers who have been positioned in the city to shoot endlessly for some reason. Dogs, of course, hate Spider-Man because they hate spiders, by extension, you know, Spider-Man. And also Wolverine, he hates you. Granted, he's a boss for some reason. I don't actually know why. Like, they ran out of sprites. Wolverine! But just so much stuff that shouldn't have an issue with you. Bats also, they can't stand you. But, you know, that's Spider-Man's shtick in a way. Like, you know, he can never catch a break, and then he does a sarcastic quip, and then he dies. But this is, you know, a little overkill. Also, it's worth noting that the game lets you save in between levels, which is a very nice feature. But saving doesn't actually work at all, which is a very nice feature. Stages play out as they would in any other platformer. It really doesn't differ that much. You run in a direction, enemies show up, you jump to new platforms. That old chestnut. You don't really implement Spider-Man swinging into the game, or they didn't, I should say. Which would have been neat, but also, you know, that would have taken time and resources. It's probably expensive, and you'd have to hire developers, so I can see why they didn't do it. Some other abilities, though, like shooting his web, you know, cobweb, etc., as they say, you know. I get it. Crawling on the walls, or even the ground for some reason, are in the game, though, which, you know, I thought that was neat. You wouldn't expect those mechanics to be in a bootleg, but they are, so that's cool. Although crawling on the ground, aka ducking, is a little overrated. At first, I figured you could use it to, I don't know, duck under bullets, because that seemed like a good idea, but apparently bullets have a giant hitbox, and it just doesn't work, so that's depressing. So you have to jump over bullets instead. With that said, however, this is a functioning platformer. Although Spider-Man lacks some of his abilities, these are made up for with the largish size of his attack hitboxes. Because, you know, they're decent. And just the really stupid enemy AI. I mean, really dumb. But, you know, for one, Ben has a big ol' invisible fist hitbox and a great kick move that can take out most things in the game. You'll still end up eating a lot of, you know, probably unnecessary damage, but it's completely doable to make it through the game. I mean, I beat the game in about 45 minutes, and the AI, they really help you out. Because, it seems that the AI, or the enemies that can move anyway, are programmed to walk forward, hopefully do damage, maybe, cross your fingers, here's hoping, reach the end of the stage, or whatever platform they're on, turn around, and repeat the process. Every enemy in the game does this, including the bosses. They'll just walk right at you, and then you can jump over them, meaning the game doesn't actually provide any real challenge, or, not a fair one at least. Those giant bullets are an issue, and sometimes dogs. And sure, there's plenty of unavoidable damage, but that's kind of mitigated with a fairly generous supply of health pickups. Not that generous, but more so than I would have expected from a bootleg. Because, usually they just leave you to your own devices, like, we don't care if you completed this. We didn't actually even finish the game past level 4, so to see this, it's kind of nice. In terms of an actual in-game threat, though, there is none. Nothing is smart enough to put up a fight, even the bosses, so they're kind of a joke. Speaking of jokes, the one saving grace of the game could have been what you're greeted with at the beginning, which is a cutscene, because you see, hidden in the prosperous city, diversified damned desires. Though the Spider-Man had the overwhelming power, he couldn't completely secure, and then it cuts off and the level just starts. Which is funny, sure, like the first time it happens, but that same sad cutscene that doesn't finish plays at the start of every stage in the game. And I must say, to see it never actually fully complete is a damn shame. And, we do have the ending, which is nice as well. I wouldn't play through the game to see it, and as such, I'm going to spoil it for you right now, just because I'm a good person. The master behind Norman Green's dream. Hold on a second. That doesn't make sense. Norman Green. My favorite Spider-Man villain, Norman Green. His dream, though, Norman Green's dream, to manipulate the word. Norman Green he's an English teacher, and he's gonna control words and run around with an E on it, or a G on his head. But, let's see. Norman Green's dream to manipulate, the word broke by Spider-Man. Well, that says it all. All civilians under the threads of green. His name is now Green, and also he's into knitting, which I think is special, and he does it for the community. But they were saved from sweaters. The Panic City went back into peace again, except in my brain. The end. Look at our image. It's low quality. Speaking of looking at things, the presentation, I guess we should do. It's all right. Ben looks fine, said the colorblind person. Just take my word for it. It's Spider-Man. He's red and blue, probably. But I guess the locations in the game are indicative of New York. It's mostly city-type areas, maybe a warehouse, or those famous New York Amazons. Although, to be fair, I live, in a forest with trees, so, close enough. Spider-Man actually has some pretty decent animations that are rather smooth. Enemies are all terrible and generic. Also, they're dumb, but, I already touched on that. Most bosses are unrecognizable, except for, Wolverine. But, of course, Spider-Man's greatest foe looks dumb. This looks nothing like Green Goblin. It looks like a tall guy with a small head. They didn't get the ears right or anything like that. You could have used Wolverine's head and colored it green. That would have looked better. I don't know. You screwed this up. He looks terrible. Everything else looks better than this. This tall guy sucks. But, with that said, I'd still have to say overall, the game looks pretty good. Again, Spider-Man, those nice animations, probably the nicest thing about the game. The music, on the other hand, well, that's something special. I'm pretty sure all of this is taken from some Pokemon game. Now, of course, I don't want to say for sure that it's Pokemon music, but it sounds an awful lot like Pokemon. Doesn't help that whenever Spider-Man finishes a stage, the evolution noise plays. Only he never evolves or gets better in any way at all. Much like a creepypasta. Nothing really notable about the sound other than the most likely ripping off of Pokemon. Other noises such as hitting are just, your stock hit noises. Nothing to really dive into there. Although, way to rip off Pokemon, Good job! Woo, that's good choice. I like the variety. But yeah, that's Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 1, depending on your outlook on life. It's a decent bootleg. Sure, technically you're better off playing like Spider-Man on the PS4 or the GameCube or like the Web of Shadows or something like that if you can track down a copy. Granted, you can't buy that game digitally, I think. I tried on the PS3. I couldn't do it. I think it's a licensing thing. Re-release that game, Activision. I don't know who owns Spider-Man. This has been Obscure Gaming. This game is okay, It's got an amazing story. It's okay to play. You can do worse, like playing any Sonic bootleg that's ever been made, and a lot of the other Mario ones, and all that shit. So, yeah. If you ever come across this, give it a shot. This has been Obscure Gaming. I don't know who owns Spider-Man. Well, Sony does, but thank you for watching. Bum dum dum. You thought the video was over? Oh, aren't you disappointed? Welcome back to End Slate, where you can't get rid of me. Sorry, I'm back. Hope you enjoyed the new Obscure Gaming. Sorry it took so long to complete. It's, slight breakdown, whatever. Also, I hope you're all safe and well. I know that everything kind of went to hell. Which I'm willing to take full responsibility for. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the new video, and I hope you're all doing well out there. I have other videos planned, believe it or not, though I'm not setting a hard date. I have social media. Here's me trying to remember what I do in Enslate. I have social media and stuff. I don't know, like Twitter and Twitch, and then other things. If you want to check those out, if you want to subscribe or like the video, or leave a comment or something like that, that would help. And you have to hit a bell, I guess. And if I see an animation of a cursor clicking on the subscribe button and then clicking on the bell one more time, I'm gonna go insane because I keep seeing that everywhere. Like, I swear to everyone has the exact same one of the, like, that same animation. Just click and then click. It's driving me insane. Anyways. Hope you enjoyed the video, but hey, this wouldn't be Enslay unless I did some. Does Nico does the art? Still, technically, probably. Anyways, I'd have. Hey, what's cracking, everyone? I'm here to thank you. To say thanks to the lovely people who support me on Patreon, who put up with my bullshit. And now I'm back on my bullshit, and I'm ready to thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna, yeah. And so many, many heartfelt thanks go out to Phantom Ganon and Michaela and Whitman. Also, Michaela, I got your message. I'm gonna respond to it right now. I kind of stream randomly, so it's, and I don't want to like annoy everyone. With like every time I stream, and I also don't know when I stream a lot of the time, so it's hard to give a 2-hour advance notice of that. So I'm sorry about that. But thank you for. Let me know when you want your stream. Let me start over. Thank you, Phantom Ganon, and thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Whitman, and thank you, Gerardo. Why does your name cut off? Echeverra. Thank you. It cut off your name for some reason. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Deshaun Lewis. It cut off your name too. But thank you, Shadow. Um, Thank you, Skinny720. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anal Bag. I'm sorry. uh, Thank you. Thank you, Queen Sapphire and Snooper. Matthew Newitt, Ragnar the Green, the runner of the Discord that I'm afraid of. Thank you, Cedars, PhD. MD, PhD. Thank you, Sad Goku. Aw. Don't be sad. Thank you, Danielle Policio, and James Gray, and Matt Sinclair, and Gothic Violin. The Pie Man. Hey, it's Brad. 1,000 Freckles. Bradley Harper. And thank you, Antonio and Guan. I think I sung some of those by accident. Thank you, Cube Rider, and Blinker002, and Lily Starflame, and Nikki Layman, and Nolan, and Crunchy Face, and Fernando Silva, and Christina, and Kempachi Ramasama, and Michael Holder II, and Anna, and... 1 second. Steven! It cut off your name. Steven Priatessa Kokujo Kiyoshiro. Kyoshiro. We'll pretend I said that right. Thank you, Tim Klomp, and Keitaro, David Jansen, and thank you, Armaruda. I don't know why my voice went to this. Thank you, Shillick, and Dylan Swinson. Thank you, Will G, and David Martinez, and Evil Ghost, Zelos. Thank you, Snoopy Spirit, and Tropic. Thank you, John Mayer. Your body is a wonderland. Thank you, Kristen Soto. Thank you, Chuckster. This is going on long. I don't care. Hold on. Thank you, Painful Choice. Thank you, TDSLIG. I still can't pronounce that. Thank you, S. That's easier. Thank you, but thank you both. And the Club Rocker and the Prince of Ravens, the very Prince of Ravens. Thank you. Thank you, Lily Bunny and Scott Labar and Andy Devora and Common Tree Shari and Radar and GJR78, which I stand by. Totally sounds like a Gundam type. Thank you, Jiggly Turbo and Kami-mon and Zachary Alexander and the Sick White Tiger. Hi, Tiger. And Michael B. and Elfrey684 and John Paul Hoare and Mr. Mohawk and the Wheels in the Bus Go Die Die Die, Andrew Silverman, Greg Wolf, Mr. Bowler, Mayo Kuroshima, Angel Bane, M Gamers, Eric Camacho, Ryan Cole, the Red 9 in RE4. Is that one? Okay, well, it's still really good. That's a good weapon. Problematic, Nikki Botelli, Escape Route British, Jameson Wiley, John Garcia, Friend Carrick, Arpie Spies, Link the 8th. Come watch my streams. That's someone else saying it, though, not me. So, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone who supports, Patreon. You're nice. This went on for 7 minutes. That's going to upset someone, probably, I imagine. This is almost the length of the video, they will say, roughly. And sure. Yeah, that's a shame. So, thank you all again. Glad to be back. Stay safe. I love you all. And I'll see you all again next time on the never-ending nightmare that is End Slate. Ta-ta.